A blow for Boeing as its flagship is grounded by 2 airlines in Japan. Hello, I'm Mishal Husain. Here's why the Dreamliner emergency landing is our top story on Impact. It happened at this airport in Japan, and it's the latest scare to affect the Dreamliner. We ask if Boeing could now suffer a global fallout. Welcome. You probably know what it's like to go through a bad patch at work, but it looks as though the plane giant Boeing is facing a particularly tricky time after another scare involving its Dreamliner. This time, one of the planes was actually forced to make an emergency landing. Let's get the latest now on what was essentially something that has placed the Dreamliner and therefore Boeing itself under great scrutiny. Our correspondent Rupert Wingfield-Hayes reports.
This is a sight that will make hearts sink at Boeing's headquarters in Chicago. It may look like a drill, but this is for real. An emergency evacuation from one of Boeing's shiny new 787 Dreamliners. It was caught on camera by a Japanese TV reporter who just happened to be on board. In the end, the fire trucks were not needed, and the passengers all walked away unharmed. But smoke on board an aircraft in flight is always serious. That's why All Nippon Airways and Japan Airlines have now both ordered the grounding of all their 787s until they can be thoroughly checked.
An All Nippon Airways flight has made an emergency landing after a cockpit message indicated there was a problem. Details are being checked, but we are not prepared to comment on any general problems that have surfaced in the 787.
It's no exaggeration to say the 787 is the future of Boeing. More than 800 of the high-tech, lightweight planes have been ordered. But in the last week, it has been hit by an unprecedented series of incidents. First, an electrical fire on board a Japan Airlines Dreamliner in Boston in the US. Then a fuel leak from another JAL Dreamliner at the same airport the next day. Last Friday, an All Nippon Dreamliner suffered a cracked windscreen. And now, this latest emergency. Experts insist none of the faults is fundamental, and the 787 is still a very good plane. But with so many incidents in such a short space of time, Boeing has a lot of explaining to do to its customers. Rupert Wingfield-Hayes, BBC News in Tokyo.
Well, let's talk about that explaining that Boeing has to do that Rupert referred to, because with me now is business presenter Aaron Heselhurst. How are they dealing with what's got to feel like a pretty tricky time for Boeing?
Oh, Michelle, you probably can't stress enough just how much pressure is piling up on the US plane maker Boeing. They did come out with a statement, very simple, short statement. I quote, "We will be working with our customers and the appropriate regulatory agencies." But the reason the pressure is really piling up on Boeing, Michelle, is because the problems with these Japanese carriers in Japan, it's moving beyond Japan. Indian aviation regulators came out today and said that they're launching their own safety investigation. This is on top, of course, the Japanese investigation, the US investigation. But for Boeing, at the end of the day, the reason the pressure, again, is piling is we can't stress also just how important. This is their most important aircraft. It's Boeing's future. I put a little something together just for you, Michelle, just to show you why the 787 is so vitally important to Boeing and its profits. There we go. Let's take a look. Because this aircraft represents some huge investments for airlines, because each one, there you go, each one of those babies costs over $200 million. 49 of these jets have already been delivered, but on the order books, 800 are still sitting there. Now, All Nippon Airways, Japan Airlines, they're the only carriers to have grounded the 787 fleet, but they are the biggest customers to date. But United Airlines, Qatar, you can see on the screen, they're also major customers. Air India, Ethiopian Airways have also taken delivery of some of their 787s. And in Chile, Elan, that's the Chile carrier, and the Polish carrier LOT have also got their 787s.
Okay, so, I mean, the focus has been on the Japanese airlines, the ones that have actually grounded their aircraft already. What about all the other airlines, then, that have placed orders? Well,
they're all remaining very confident. They've been quite vocal today, coming out and saying, look, we remain confident. I think, you know, within the aviation industry, most of the experts are saying anything high-tech like this is groundbreaking technology we're talking about with this aircraft. You know, carbon fiber shells, no aluminium, no hydraulics. It's all new super technology. You're going to have teething problems. And they'll remind everybody the Airbus A380 had some teething problems when it first came out, first launched. But we heard British Airways said, look, we're going to stick to our order of 24 aircraft. Qantas saying we're going to stick to our 15 order. We also heard from Scoot, which is the low-budget long-haul arm for Singapore Airlines. They've got 20. And I heard from their CEO earlier, he was saying, look, we remain very confident. Again, it's the teething problem. Just to quickly add, the one big concern is passenger confidence. That's what the airlines have to look out for.
Yeah, if the passengers start saying, actually, I'd rather book on a different plane, is this one a Dreamliner?
Exactly, and the passengers over the, flying public over the last few weeks, they've seen cracked windows, brake failures, fires on board this aircraft. It doesn't shoot, or bode well for confidence on this particular aircraft.
Okay, well, I know you're going to keep right across that.
Absolutely.
Thanks very much,
Thanks,
Aaron
Michelle.
Heselhurst.